things I've noticed as we walk along. You can hear the birds singing in the background. That when I walk any path, or I drive a path all the time, I tend to give names. Well, I call this the Tri-Bridge area. So we're passing the first bridge, and you can see that basically we are located over a swamp. I'm wondering when Jesus was walking in the path to Emmaus, and particularly Cleopas and the other disciple that was with him, they had to have had that walk down, and they had to know places to stop and places to look along the side, and just to have a sense of what's there. We're coming up now to the second bridge, and you will see here that in this particular bridge there's a little stream. And of course, in this case, since we're so near the ocean, the strength of the stream depends a whole lot upon the current. This one is barely flowing. You can just see the water reflecting there. But as Jesus was talking, I was also wondering and talking with the disciples, have you ever listened to a radio program or got into some music as you're driving along, and all of a sudden the miles go by so fast, all of a sudden you look up and there it is. And I had to imagine when Jesus was talking to the disciples and teaching that they shared that excitement, that it had to be a sense of all of a sudden they were there and they were coming to an end. And now, of course, this is the last bridge of the three bridges. And we're taking a walk along here. And when you're walking, don't you at some point just settle into a rhythm? And whatever that rhythm is, you sort of go in the back of your mind. There's been all sorts of studies that say that walking like that is a very restful thing. It's a very peaceful thing because you have that kind of kinetic sense of what's there. And our particular species has been walking upright for a long time. And we are walking along this path, and you can see the beauty of what's here. I wonder, did Jesus and his disciples notice the beauty that was there? Or were they so busy talking that what they saw was the beauty of the Word? You'll notice here there are these particular big fawn things along the side. They look like palm trees. There's one coming up here right there on the right. And I can remember Palm Sunday, I thought, boy, I'll go out and get a lot of those if I can do a real Palm Sunday, being a silly northerner. Well, I put them out, but the people in my church knew that they were weeds. So when the choir ushered up the aisle right behind me, they very carefully stepped over and around these weeds that I had put down to appreciate what was there. Now, we're coming through this path, and you might want to think about, is all the world the same in the path? But we'll see in a minute here as we walk along that indeed we will come out, and if you look carefully, there's a little crosswalk that'll be there. And in this particular case, the cards are all instructed that if anybody is in the path, that they should stop. Well, they didn't. And you can see them drive right on by. And this trail's here. Now, sometimes as you walk along a trail, you'll get a signpost. I imagine in Jesus' time they were piled stones or some kind of symbolic tree pointed out, but you can see we'll come up to a signpost that clearly is going to tell us that if we make a right, that we're going to get into an area that's a little closer. And you'll also see when we make that turn that we're going to be leaving the forest, and we're going to come to what I'm calling my Oasis, which is a Dairy Queen store. So look forward here as we round this corner, and we're going to come around, and there's our marker telling us about the Dairy Queen store and about the trail. And I'm sure that there were signposts along the way that Jesus and his disciples had in this particular case, and as Jesus was telling the story. And here you see my Oasis, the Dairy Queen store that I was telling you about. Now there's going to be an interesting thing that happens here. This actually ends in a crosswalk, and when you get to the end of the crosswalk, there is a sign, and you won't be able to see it sideways, but it instructs anybody driving to please stop for people in the crosswalk. So you'll see here I am approaching, and there's the opposite end of the sign that says the path is closed. And you see as I drive by, I'm standing there in the pathway, but that car had no idea right here of stopping for me. So, sometimes when you go on a journey, you got to keep your eyes open. Yeah. And not everybody does what they're supposed to do. I think Jesus said it in a nice way. Be as wise as serpents and as innocent as the dove.